If you are a hairstylist or a barber, you're going to absolutely love this. Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you, are you in financial trouble as a hairstylist or barber? And I'm going to tell you what to do about it if you are. So maybe you might be asking, hey, you know what? I'm pretty talented. I'm a gifted hairstylist or barber. I have a great clientele, but you feel like something's not quite right with your finances. Today, I'm going to be talking about that. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alex. I'm a licensed life insurance advisor and financial educator. And today, guys, I'm going to be sharing with you how to know if you are rock solid when it comes to your finances, if you are a hairstylist or barber. So trust me, you're gonna want to stay all the way to the end because I'm not only gonna share with you some telltale signs how you know you are maybe not in the best standing, but I'm gonna share with you how to get over these things. So let me tell you, if you are watching that right now, please like and share this so other people can get this valuable information. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I can remember, for those of you who don't know, I used to be a hairstylist, and I was in the beauty industry for over 23 years. Okay, and I owned and operated three different salons during that time. And I can remember there been a time when, man, let me tell you, I was making a ton of money. Okay, money just seem to be flowing in, and interestingly enough, with me being able to, I was able to start generating over six figures within 2 years of coming into the industry. And interestingly enough, even though I was generating a lot of money, I noticed that I seemed to be always still kind of living on the edge. And then when I started looking around me and I started looking at some of my peers and some of the other people that I really, really looked up to who had been in the industry for years and who were really, really great hairstylists and had a really nice clientele, one of the things I noticed is how many people seem to be struggling. How many people seem to be struggling? And I find myself kind of going down the same path, right? So I said, hey, if I want to be able to not wind up like my peers, I need to make sure that I start doing something different. Okay. So I'm gonna share with you some telltale signs, some ways that you will know, right, if you are in trouble financially as a hairstylist or barber. So let me get right to it. Okay. All right. So first of all, let's go with an obvious one first. The obvious one first is this. Are you able to comfortably cover all of your monthly expenses? Are you able to cover comfortably all of your monthly expenses? If you are a hairstylist or barber, not only do you have your home expenses, you also have your business expenses, right? So you have two sets of expenses that you have to make sure that you cover. And so one of the obvious things is, if you find yourself struggling from week to week or month to month covering your business expenses, your booth rent, buying products, having money set aside for you to be able to market your business. Um, if you own a separate entity, maybe you're paying light, gas, water, and all of that stuff, right? So, do you find yourself not being able to make sure that your business expenses are covered? So let's go on. Maybe you're covering your business expenses, but you wind up coming up a little bit short as it relates to your home expenses. So the first question that you really want to ask yourself is, am I able to cover all of my monthly expenses both my business and my personal expenses? Am I able to cover those comfortably? That's the first question that you want to ask yourself. And obviously, if you are having some difficulty doing that, this may be the first clue that something may be a little off. Okay, so that's number one. So, what's the second thing? The second thing is, what if you're able to cover your expenses, business and personal? All right. But the next question is, are you consistently saving and investing a minimum of 10% of what you earn each and every month? Guys, if you're watching me, if you're a hairstylist or a barber, or if you know someone who is, please like and share this so other people can get this information. Sharing is caring, and we want to make sure that we get this information out, okay? So if you are comfortably able to cover your salon expenses and your home expenses, the next thing is, the next step is, are you able to save at least 10% of what you generate? Okay. And if you aren't able to save at least a minimum of 10%, then you may be putting yourself in a situation where you may be setting yourself up for not being able um, to really set yourself up for financial success. So maybe you're covering your bills, covering your expenses, but maybe you're not saving any money. So now what this does is this puts you in a position where if one thing goes wrong and it's catastrophic, something that's pretty big, maybe the salon hot water heater goes out, maybe your home hot water heater goes out, maybe something happens with the car, the transmission goes out. Let me tell you, I just had a transmission replaced in one of my cars, and it was $4,000. Okay, so trust me, I know how a catastrophic expense can turn your financial situation upside down. And so, one of the ways that you do that, one of the ways you start saving, you start setting yourself up, is you start saving. You're saving money. You want to make sure that you're saving a minimum of 10% of whatever you generate each and every month, because first you want to be able to build up your emergency fund. Your emergency fund is absolutely important. So if in case something happens, you have the funds needed in order to cover the expense. What if, God forbid, if you get hurt, sick, or unable to work for any reason, and you are not able to work for, say, a month or two? You want to make sure that you have finances set aside to cover your expenses, both your business and your personal expenses, should something like that happens. And the only way that you're able to really do that, first, is you want to start saving and investing um, at least 10% of the monies that you earn each and every month consistently, each and every month. If you're not able to do 10%, start wherever you can. Start looking for an opportunity to save money wherever you possibly can, okay? Because having a desk egg, saving money can literally save your life, okay? So, what's the third thing? The third clue that you may not be financially stable like you want to be. What is that? And that is, do you have other sources of income? Here's one of the things that's really challenging when it comes to being a hairstylist or barber. You may be extremely talented, you may be very gifted, you may have a large clientele, right? But unfortunately, if you don't have a customer or a client that's sitting in your chair, and if you're not standing behind a chair and you're not cutting or you're not styling, guess what? You're all in all likelihood, you're not making any money. And then a lot of people will say, well, you know what? When I don't have anybody in my chair, I'm doing some other things on the side. Here's the challenge. The challenge is, if it requires you and for you to actually be doing something actively in order for you to generate money, it puts you in a bad position. One, because you can't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? You're going to have to take off and rest. But Warren Buffett said, if you can't find a way to make money while you're sleeping, you're going to have to work until you die. And I know that's not the position that you want to be in. So you want to make sure that you are looking for ways and you're looking for opportunities to earn money, whether you are standing behind the chair or not. You want to have at least three sources of income. Okay, at least three sources of income. And I always tell people, if you are a hairstylist or barber, or if that's your main gig, great. That's one source of income. The next thing is you want to have, I always tell people, you want to have a home based business. You want to have some type of business that you're operating from your home. And the obvious reason to that is, of course, it allows you to generate money, but it also allows you to write off some of your home expenses. Okay, so if you're able to eliminate some of the taxes that you pay, well, guess what? That means there's more money that you can keep in your pocket that you can use to save and invest. And then finally, you want to make sure that you have another source of income that is passive, strictly passive, where you are making mailbox money, where you are making dividend money. Some of the stocks that I invested in, those things have dividends that come in. Ding, they ring up on my phone, right? I just make money because I invested money in these particular companies and they generate dividends. Also, I'm able to generate some other dollars tax free, right? Tax free. And that money just continually grows in my behalf. And I can talk more about that a little bit later. But you want to make sure that you have at least three sources of income. You want your main gig, standing behind the chair, and at least two other sources of income. All right. Ideally, ones that do not require you to work. All right. So, what is a third sign? A third sign that you may be in financial trouble. What is your fourth sign? So the question now is, when you look at all of your assets, when you look at everything that you have saved, and when you look at all the assets that you've acquired, um, are you on track to retire from the chair when you are ready? When you are ready. So, again, this is a telltale sign. If you if you're not on the pathway, if you don't see yourself being able to retire, and when I say retire, I don't mean just quit doing hair. I mean that you actually leave the business, that you leave the industry, but you have money saved or you have income that's being generated that allows you to work or not, right? And that's ideally where you want to be. So let's look at it just to give you an idea. How do you know if you're on the right track, if you're on track to retire from behind the chair? If you are around in your 30s, I'm just going to say in your 30s, okay? If you have roughly one times your annual income, so if you make $70,000 a year in your business, if you're in your 30s and you have roughly about $70,000 already saved for your retirement, that says, hey, you're on the right track. Okay, let's go on. If you are in your 40s and you have three times your annual salary. So again, if you make $70,000 a year and you have roughly about 210,000 saved up and you're in your 40s, guess what? You're headed in the right direction. Keep going. If you're in your 50s, you want to have five times your salary. So that means if you make $70,000, guess what? If you have roughly about 325, 350 saved up in retirement in stocks, bonds, or other assets, real estate that you can sell, guess what? You're on the right track. And if you're in your 60s, if you have 7 times your annual salary, roughly about 400, 420,000. If you make $70,000 a year, excuse me, 450,000. So if you have roughly about 450,000 saved up and you're in your 60s, or you have assets that you can sell, right? That will give you roughly that much money that you can live off of in retirement. And the reason why it's so important that you know this early, and you start working toward this early on, because in this case, time is your friend. The more money you have working for you and the longer you have this money working for you, the better. So that's the reason why you always hear people say it's always best to start saving and investing as early as you possibly can, because time is your friend. So, generally speaking, if you are making $70,000, right? The rule of thumb says you're going to need about 80% of what you make, right? When you're working, you're going to need about 80% in your retirement years. So if we're making 70,000, we're roughly going to need about $56,000 a year in retirement, right? And so if you need 56,000 and you plan on living in retirement for roughly about 20 years, how much would you need? Let's do the math very quickly. You need about 1.1 million. 1.1 million. So the sooner you know these numbers, the better you are, because now you're gonna be able to position yourself that you're gonna be able to make the right moves to get to where you need to be. The thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to get to your retirement years and then realize, uh-oh, Social Security is not enough for me to live on. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to eat cat food or dog food. So, I'm just saying. Or you don't want to have to choose between being able to take your medicines and having food to eat. These are real consequences that people are dealing with day to day. And most of the reasoning is because we never stopped to take a look at our finances while we were earning. In our peak earning years, we never stopped to take a look at our finances. So that's the reason why I'm having this conversation with you guys right now. And Therese, thank you. Thank you. She says, great information, Miss Trust. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Um, because guys, let me tell you something. I know we go to these hair shows and we're going to Bronner Brothers and we're going to IBS and we're doing all this other stuff, right? And it's important that you are continually honing your skills, that you're always learning how to do the latest and greatest, that you're becoming better at what you do. And that's great. But at the end of the day, if you are not taking your skill set, if you're not taking your gift and your talent, if you're not making it available and delivering value to your customers and clients, and if you're not taking what they give you in return and you're using it wisely and smartly for your financial well-being and your financial freedom, then it's not just what you make, it's also what you keep. It's both of those things. And both of those things are extremely important. So too often we focus on making the money, the skill set, but we don't take the time to figure out how do we manage it better and how do we make this money work for us instead of us working for it. So, very quickly, let me just go back. So, number one, you want to make sure that you are able to comfortably cover all of your monthly expenses. That's your business and your home expenses. Number two, are you consistently saving at least 10% of what you earn each and every month? If you are not, you might you might want to start looking at this, and you might want to start you know, keeping an eye on your finances. Number three, do you have other sources of income besides you standing behind the chair? Do those other sources of income require you to be actively earning that money? If it does, you need to have some additional sources, because heaven forbids, if something happens to you and you're not able to work because you become sick, hurt, or injured, right? That means your money is going to be cut off if you haven't found a way to earn money while you're sleeping. You got to have passive streams of income, and you need to have at least three sources. Number four, are you on track to retire from the chair? I explained to you how much you probably should have at different intervals and different points throughout your life. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, okay. The fifth thing is your credit score at least 720 or above. If your credit score isn't at least 720 or above, then there are a couple of challenges with this. One being that probably means that there was some period of time, or some debts or some things did not get paid as agreed. Okay, and for that reason, your credit score is low. All right. It could be because you know, somewhere you didn't make enough money, or some things didn't get paid. Usually missed payments are the biggest things. There might be some collections on there. It could be any number of things, okay? But you want to make sure that your credit score is at least 720, because when you need to access credit for you to be able to buy assets. That's what I always say. Don't go into debt buying stuff. Buying, cars are cool. Clothes are cool, but you don't want to go into debt. Buying expensive cars and clothes and handbags and all this other stuff, because those things go down in value, right? And what's going to happen is, if you don't have at least a 720 credit score, that means that you're going to pay a higher interest rate. You're going to pay more interest than someone who has a good credit score. So you want to make sure that you have a great credit score if you need to access credit for any reason. So, so your credit score is a indication. If your credit score is less than 720, you know what? There might be some things that you might need to, start to look at and start tightening up financially. What else? Number six, do you have insurance? Let me tell you something. If you are working behind the chair, if you have children, if you have dependents, somebody who depend on you and your income, you need life insurance. Guys, let me tell you. Right now, if you passed away, how would your family be impacted? Would they be able to go on and live without you? Not only will they be able to cover your final expenses, but will their lifestyle be impacted because you didn't have enough money saved? You didn't have enough money invested. You didn't have money set aside to take care of some of the debts and other things that you leave behind. You didn't necessarily have money saved up to pay for your child's or your kid's college, right? Or some other things that come along in life. That's what life insurance and insurance is all about. It's about understanding the various risks to your assets, to you, to your family, and to your finances. And if you're not able to cover these things with your own savings, with the things that you've already acquired, then life insurance becomes the smart approach. life insurance is the cheapest, fastest way for you to protect your family, to protect your assets, and to protect the things that you've worked hard for, right? And so there are any number of reasons, in addition to the protection piece, you also want to make sure that you have life insurance because it could potentially help you grow your money tax free. You can also use some of that money uh, for lifetime income in retirement that never runs out. You can also use life insurance for paying if you get sick, injured, or terminally ill. It'll help pay for medical expenses. It'll help pay for long term care that you might need if you get sick, hurt, or injured. So, guys, let me tell you something. I'm a licensed life insurance advisor. I'm gonna have a link. Email me, inbox me if you have children and you have dependents, people who depend on your income, and you do not have enough monies saved up and invested to cover expenses for the foreseeable future. If something happens to you, you need life insurance. If you love your family, get protection. It's the cheapest and the fastest way for you to be able to protect your family and to build wealth. All right. So if you do not, then you and your family and the assets that you've worked hard for are in trouble. Okay. Get life insurance. All right. And then finally, the sixth thing is the seventh way you would know if you are in trouble financially is, do you have and use a monthly budget that you use every single month to plan what you're going to spend and track what you've spent? Do you have a monthly budget that you use every single month for your business and for your home? And if do you have a written financial plan? Have you sat down with someone to help you figure out where you are now with your finances? What's your net worth? What's your cash flow looking like? Where do you stand in terms of your retirement savings? Where are you in terms of your assets and risk management? If you don't have someone that you're working with to help you figure out where you are financially right now, where you want to be, and how best to get there, if you don't have somebody, if you're not working with someone, you need to be working with someone right now. So let me just tell you, you can go to candidly.com/Alex Allure and schedule a free consultation with me. And guys, I will help you get your finances on the right track. I just shared with you an abbreviated version, but this gives you 7 ways you know if finances are in trouble or could potentially be in trouble. Guys, let me tell you, I know sometimes it can be really, really difficult. I know it might seem that it's too late for you. I know that some people may be just really overwhelmed and just confused about what they should do first, how they should do it, what goals they should be utilizing, or what vehicles or investments they should be looking. I know it can be overwhelming. And that's the whole reason for linking up with someone who can help you figure out how to see your way through all the various choices, all the various things that you have to consider and think about. Someone who can help guide you through the process to make it much simpler and easier for you. If you go to candidly.com/Alex Allure, you can schedule a free consultation with me and I'll guide you and I'll help you through the process. Okay, guys? Let me tell you something. This is something that you cannot afford to ignore. A lot of times people say, you know, oh, what's the cost of going to this course? Or what's the cost of hiring somebody to help me with this? But people fail to realize the cost of ignorance or the cost of having a lack of knowledge will cost you so much more. If you are working with someone, whatever investments you make with that individual, they should be returning. You should be getting a multiple return on your investment. And again, a lot of times people look at it and say, "Oh, I spend money up front." But let me tell you again, if they're worth their weight, if they're worth their weight, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're gonna save you and help you make so much more money in the long run. This is something that you cannot afford not to do. Okay, so just really quickly again, number one, if you cannot cover your monthly expenses, both your business and your home expenses, that might be an indication that you might be in financial trouble. If you can't save and invest at least 10% of what you earn each and every month consistently, you might want to look at some stuff. If you don't have multiple sources of income, at least three, guys, you may want to talk to me or talk to somebody. If you are not on track to retire from behind the chair when you would like to, then it might be time to talk. If your credit score isn't more than 720 or higher, then it says that you will wind up paying more money to borrow money, right? You want to make sure that you pay the least amount of money when it comes to borrowing, okay? And the way that you do that is you increase your credit score. The higher your scores, the lower the rates, the cheaper the money is that you borrow in order for you to be able to buy investments, assets, to buy tools to help you build more wealth. Number six, if you do not have life insurance, you need to holler at me because your assets, and your family are at risk. And do you work with a monthly budget each and every month? And do you have a financial plan to help you figure out where you are, where you want to be, and the best strategies to help you get there? By the way, what does a financial plan include? It includes cash flow analysis, retirement planning, investment management, tax planning, estate planning. It helps you figure out what your goals are, what your milestones should be, and the best strategies to help you get there. Guys, let me tell you something. If you do not have a financial plan, you are not setting yourself up for success in your finances. Go to Canley.com/Alex Allure. Schedule a free consultation with me. I would love to help you get to the place where you have more financial freedom, where you have more financial independence, so you're able to live a life that you truly want and be able to leave a legacy for your family. All right. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you on the next episode.